Some characteristics and features of Caliph Umar bin al-Khattab: he was tall, physically powerful, and a renowned wrestler. He was also a gifted orator who succeeded his father as an arbitrator among the tribes. Umar became a merchant and made several journeys to Rome and Persia, where he is said to have met various scholars and analyzed Roman and Persian societies. The Rashidun Caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab: his qualities and morals since the beginning of the Islamic message and its spread to the world. Part 3. We continue to tell a stage of the life of the Rashidun Caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab. Sahib al-Kharaj, the revenue collector. Sahib al-Adath, the police chief. Sahib Bait al-Mal, the treasury officer. Qadi, the chief judge. In some districts there were separate military officers, though the wali was, in most cases, the commander-in-chief of the army quartered in the province. Every appointment was made in writing. At the time of appointment, an instrument of instructions was issued with a view to regulating the wali's conduct. On assuming office, the wali was required to assemble the people in the main mosque and read the instrument of instructions before them. Umar's general instructions to his officers were, "Remember, I have not appointed you as commanders and tyrants over the people. I have sent you as leaders instead, so that the people may follow your example. Give the Muslims their rights and do not beat them lest they become abused. Do not praise them unduly, lest they fall into the error of conceit. Do not keep your doors shut in their faces, lest the more powerful of them eat up the weaker ones. And do not behave as if you were superior to them, for that is tyranny over them." Various other strict codes of conduct were to be obeyed by the governors and state officials. The principal officers were required to travel to Mecca on the occasion of the Hajj, during which people were free to present any complaint against them. In order to minimize the chances of corruption, Umar made it a point to pay high salaries to the staff. Provincial governors received as much as 5,000 to 7,000 dirham annually besides their shares of the spoils of war if they were also the commander-in-chief of the army of their sector. Under Umar, the empire was divided into the following provinces: Mecca, Medina, Basra, Kufa, Jazira. In the upper reaches of the Tigris and Euphrates, Syria, Elia, Ramla, Upper Egypt, Lower Egypt, Khorasan, Azerbaijan. Faz Umar was first to establish a special department for the investigation of complaints against the officers of the state. This department acted as the administrative court, where the legal proceedings were personally led by Umar. The department was under the charge of Muhammad ibn Maslama, one of Umar's most trusted men. In important cases, Muhammad ibn Maslama was deputed by Umar to proceed to the spot, investigate the charge, and take action. Sometimes an inquiry commission was constituted to investigate the charge. On occasion, the officers against whom complaints were received were summoned to Medina and charged in Umar's administrative court. Umar was known for this intelligence service through which he made his officials accountable. This service was also said to have inspired fear in his subjects. Umar was a pioneer in some affairs. Umar was the first to introduce the public ministry system, where the records of officials and soldiers were kept. He also kept a record system for messages he sent to governors and heads of state. He was the first to appoint police forces to keep civil order. He was the first to discipline the people when they became disordered. Another important aspect of Umar's rule was that he forbade any of his governors and agents from engaging in any sort of business dealings whilst in a position of power. An agent of Umar by the name of al-Harith ibn Ka'b ibn Wahb was once found to have extra money beyond his salary, and Umar inquired about his wealth. Al-Harith replied that he had some money and he engaged in trade with it. Umar said, "By Allah, we did not send you to engage in trade." And he took from him the profits he had made. Since Medina, with a rapidly growing population, was at risk of recurring famines when crops were lacking, Umar sought to facilitate the import of grain. He ordered the building of a canal connecting the Nile to the Red Sea and an improvement of port infrastructure on the Arabian coast. When Basra was established during Umar's rule, he started building a 9-mile canal from the Tigris to the new city for irrigation and drinking water. Al-Tabari reports that Utbah ibn Ghazwan built the first canal from the Tigris River to the site of Basra when the city was in the planning stage. After the city was built, Umar appointed Abu Musa Ash'ari, 1729, 638 to 650, as its first governor. He began building two important canals, the al-Ubula and the Makel, linking Basra with the Tigris River. These two canals were the basis for the agricultural development for the whole Basra region and used for drinking water. Umar also adopted a policy of assigning barren lands to those who undertook to cultivate them. This policy continued during the Umayyad period and resulted in the cultivation of large areas of barren lands through the construction of irrigation canals by the state and by individuals. Under Umar's leadership, the empire expanded. Accordingly, he began to build a political structure that would hold together the vast territory. He undertook many administrative reforms and closely oversaw public policy, establishing an advanced administration for the newly conquered lands, including several new ministries and bureaucracies, and ordered a census of all the Muslim territories. During his rule, the garrison cities Amsir of Basra and Kufa were founded or expanded. In 638, he extended and renovated the Masjid al-Haram Grand Mosque in Mecca and al-Masjid al-Nabawi Mosque of the Prophet in Medina. Umar also ordered the expulsion to Syria and Iraq of the Christian and Jewish communities of Najran and Khaybar. He also permitted Jewish families to resettle in Jerusalem, which had previously been barred from all Jews. He issued orders that these Christians and Jews should be treated well and allotted them the equivalent amount of land in their new settlements. Umar also forbade non-Muslims from residing in the Hejaz for longer than 3 days. He was first to establish the army as a state department. Umar was founder of fiqh, or Islamic jurisprudence. He is regarded by Sunni Muslims as one of the greatest faqih, and, as such, he started the process of codifying Islamic law. In 641, he established Bayt al-Mal, a financial institution, and started annual allowances for the Muslims. As a leader, Umar was known for his simple, austere lifestyle. Rather than adopt the pomp and display affected by the rulers of the time, he continued to live much as he had when Muslims were poor and persecuted. In 638, his 4th year as caliph and the 17th year since the Hijrah, he decreed that the Islamic calendar should be counted from the year of the Hijrah of Muhammad from Mecca to Medina. Umar's visit to Jerusalem is documented in several sources. A recently discovered Judeo-Arabic text has disclosed the following anecdote. Umar ordered Gentiles and a group of Jews to sweep the area of the Temple Mount. Umar oversaw the work. The Jews who had come sent letters to the rest of the Jews in Palestine and informed them that Umar had permitted resettlement of Jerusalem by Jews. Umar, after some consultation, permitted 70 Jewish households to return. They returned to live in the southern part of the city, i.e., the market of the Jews. Their aim was to be near the water of Silwan and the Temple Mount and its gates. Then the commander Umar granted them this request. The 70 families moved to Jerusalem from Tiberias and the area around it with their wives and children. It is also reported in the name of the Alexandrian bishop Eutychius, 932–940 CE, that the rock known as the Temple Mount had been a place of ruins as far back as the time of the Empress Helena, mother of Constantine the Great, who built churches in Jerusalem. The Byzantines, he said, had deliberately left the ancient site of the temple as it was, and had even thrown rubbish on it, so that a great heap of rubble formed. It was only when Umar marched into Jerusalem with an army that he asked Ka'b, who was Jewish before he converted to Islam, "Where do you advise me to build a place of worship?" Ka'b indicated the Temple Rock, now a gigantic heap of ruins from the Temple of Jupiter. I stop at this point today. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the world's incredible stories. Soon we will publish Part 4. Thank you for watching.